Suck toe suckers!
Yeah, I suck toes, bitch!
And today we're gonna be playing, and actually no, we're not gonna be playing There Is No Game, right? This is a very special game, right, that I played a couple years back, but I played it again and I decided that what more better commentary on the game itself and, you know, what it's trying to do within the mechanisms of, within game mechanics, than to reference itself by doing my own thing, right? So I actually already played this game, right? And I'm just speaking over it after the fact, right? This is, so I'm playing back the video of my gameplay, and I'm talking over it, and, to make it look like I'm actually playing it and talking at the same time, but in actuality, I'm already done with it, right? I mean, how much more meta can you get? Well, this is something that I do want to kind of discuss. I mean, like, you know, self-awareness, you know, meta-awareness, meta-modernism. I mean, hopefully we can get into some, so discuss postmodernism, which I actually don't think is too bad, right? Like, it can get annoying sometimes when it's the only, when meta-awareness is the only thing it's offering, but meta-awareness as a tool in itself can make us, like, I mean, it's basically in realizing that it is a that the entire thing is an illusion, and recognizing the medium of which it is created, whether it be a video game or a book or a movie or something. It's trying to actually make us think about, you know, the line between real and fake, you know, and furthermore, get us to question the stuff that is going on within our own society, right? So, now, I don't have a clear history in my mind. Okay, wait, let's first start talking about the game itself. So, the game is pretty straightforward, you know, I mean, right now, when I played it back then, I would not know it, but that would be my first introduction to meta-awareness, you know, and, you know, like, and self-awareness within a gameplay, right? That would be my first exposure to it, and, you know, I mean, after the fact, now it's kind of like, it's gone mainstream, to the point where, like, blockbusters are even, like, using it, you know, commercial films are using it to, like, destroy any kind of sincerity that they would have, you know, I mean, meta-awareness, self-awareness, right, has kind of become the current generation's coping mechanism against criticism, right? I mean, yeah, I'm doing something that is bad, but I'm being aware of it, right? I'm being self-aware about it, and therefore, I'm realizing the errors I am committing, and I'm doing them either way, right? Because as if that's supposed to, like, shield me from, you know, consequences, right? Like, it's been overblown. I mean, from, like, I mean, the most common example would be, like, you know, the pranksters of the digital pranksters of back in the day, you know, with, this is a social experiment, right? Like that's like a joke now, but I mean, that's like, social experiments, like, that is a real thing, you know, that we can't forget about. And, like, but yeah, I mean, now it's kind of, like, everywhere, and it's like, like, I want something, you know, that actually speaks truthfully, you know, and artistically too. You know, I could care less of meta-awareness now, because it's just so drenched in it, you know, at least. But I mean, this game, it's pretty straightforward with it, you know. It's like, there is no game, but there actually is, and it's kind of, like, random too. I kind of like this, and I wish more pieces of art at least tried this, which is this kind of thread making, like, narrative kind of. Like, I'd like to see it more where, like, artists, or, like, game developers even, they probably do, like, they just build off of, you know, random events. So, like, here, like, in this game, one thing will lead to another, very, in a succession that isn't always, like, logical either. Like, we'll go to places, like, you rearrange game into, like, tree, and then boom, a tree grows, and then, oh, then we got a squirrel in there, and then, oh, we gotta go up there, and then the net, right, or something like that. And it's kind of like back and forth, and it's kind of like a thread, right? You follow the thread. I think it's equivalent to how someone would draw a line, and then they would make a kind of drawing out of that, right? Just random lines that eventually start to look like something. I actually did that, you know, when I was boarding class and had nothing better to do in that time. That's what I would do. I just draw random squiggly lines, and eventually it does look like something. But yeah, this is a pretty straightforward game, you know, but I think it's better so as to discuss the whole of, at least, self-aware pieces of art, you know. At least one of my favorites, and I don't like referencing filmmakers like specifically. Like I'm trying to not think of films as the work of one sole genius, but as a team. And the director has one vision, of course. But like I swear, like when you're making stuff, it's like sometimes stuff just ends up like making meaning by itself, and you don't even intend to it. But you could look at it that way, right? Sometimes it ends up happening. It's kind of like very rarely like does everything go extremely according to plan and exactly how someone planned it. It's kind of creative in that way. But like not to glorify just one single mind, right? Because there's a whole entire crew behind making a film. But I mean the filmography and the staff that create the films of Abbas Kiarostami is a very great, example, at least, of this kind of meta-awareness, right? Especially his film Close-Up, where you basically get playing back and forth. We go from past, present, from the past to the present. I mean, all these events have already unfolded, but basically, a man impersonated, Sabzian, impersonated a filmmaker, right? Because he loves movies. He's that much of a nerd. And he impersonated a filmmaker named Mohsen Makhlavov. And he has a few referential films himself, too, right? Like A Moment of Innocence. That would be one. And he impersonates him. And so the rest of the film is like following through the families that he lied to, that he was the filmmaker, and eventually how the police catch up to him. But the funny thing is that all the actors are played by the people involved in the actual legal, dispute. The impersonator Sabzian is actually played by Sabzian, and the families that he lied to are the real families who he lied to. And so the film is pretty slow, right? And it's kind of boring. But if there's one scene that really just stands out and makes the whole film like shine, I guess, would be the last scene. Sabzian is I guess he just got out of prison or something like that, and the director has a flower, right? And he's gonna give it to Sabzian, and this is the guy he impersonated, right? So like Kiarostami and the crew made some connections work, and they actually got the real filmmaker to meet face to face with his impersonator, and they ride out on a motorcycle, and the film follows. The actual audio stops working, so they replace music, and it's like, it's so beautiful. It's like, it's intimate in a way. It's like very gentle, right? How the director is just riding on the back of his impersonator, and with the flower, two bros, and then the music's playing is like, something like it's so. I think about it, and I mean, eventually, like, it turned out pretty bad for Sabzian. He didn't get any of the money from the film. It basically ruined his entire life. But he made one heck of a good ending, Iranian cinema in and of itself is very self-aware of itself. I'm guessing because it's trying to, in making the audiences realize that it is a fake piece of work. It is trying to awaken them to questioning, their own real-life surroundings. Okay, so if this is fake, right, then, this, like with Jafar Panahi, his filmography and the crew behind working for him, I mean, they have a film that is pretty much just like this Coolmath game, except it's called This Is Not a Film. But it is indeed a film. It's just that he was not legally allowed to do so because of his government putting him under house arrest, pretty much. And the film is just him documenting, his stay-at-home life and making a film illegally that he would then submit to. Fortunately, Panahi, he would escape, so congrats. But much of that self-awareness is trying to awaken his audience to, the realities of their government and politics around them, right? A very big, and I mean, like, I know I'm just talking about Iranian cinema right now, but, like, it's a very, known tech, like, tool, now that I'm referencing it like that. Like, the meta novel, I guess, would be, like, Ulysses, right? I have not read it. I don't know when, but yeah, that would be like, I don't know how to comment. I just heard about it. I read stuff about it, but even beyond Iranian cinema, and I have a shoddy history of postmodernism too. Like, I may be familiar with some kind of works, but I mean, really, I don't think it's all that bad, right? Like I'm saying, like it's trying to get audiences to question the world around them instead of escaping into instead of seeing it like art as kind of escapist route, you know. And I mean, at least one thing I can say for Ulysses is that it was dealing with the fight for Irish independence of that time, right? So at least there's that within this like like overarching like comically absurd narrative of a guy getting cucked by his wife. I mean, like, yeah, but I guess it's even we've gone from a point where it's not even just to be self-aware, to be meta, right? Like I think when Facebook decided to rename itself Meta, they were doing something at least that was playing around with that, right? I mean, the fact that now we can actually become references ourselves, right? That the whole world ends up becoming our reference. That we're aware that us within this virtual reality simulacrum is a copy of the real world. It's like we're just taking meta and self-awareness to a whole new level. Eventually, the point, I believe, what these billionaires want you to do is to forget that it even is fictional, or that it is just running on pixels. That the whole thing is just running on pixels, and it's fake, and just a bunch of pixels, and in doing so, the world is what becomes meta or something like that. But I mean, I guess that's the kind of future we're heading towards. I mean, the merging of human and machine, I guess, like what even am I now? But yeah, like whole different way of seeing things through technology. And I'm gonna be honest, right? Like I don't even know too much about it, and I don't care about it either. Like other from being kind of like a Luddite, right? With like I also like I don't care for it, right? And like like I told y'all before, like this channel is just to make money. I don't care about games, or I don't even care about the virtual reality headset display or anything like that, either. So yeah, you won't catch me buying that crap anytime soon. But I do still think it's interesting how that's the kind of reality we're headed in, like even the history of self-awareness and meta-awareness, right? I mean, we can even try to trace it back to the development of probably even the human ego, right? Like we can probably even try to trace it back to like even Descartes' proclamation of I think therefore I am, even if we try to go as far back as that. But I mean, like, it's just surprising to me how I mean, at its base, it is a very still human kind of phenomena, self-awareness and meta-awareness, and to see it, like, morph and adapt into its mediums, and, now with this horrifying, virtual reality that we're going towards, it's interesting, and it's also kind of disappointing in some ways. But yeah, this was a recording of gameplay that is unrelated to what it is I'm talking about, and on a platform that stores billions of other videos, and this was one of the many videos under the channel called Running on Pixels. And bye, toe suckers!